Nice. Okay, guys, welcome to the very first live chat with the ZenCash dev on cryptocurrency talk. This is going to be the first of a series of many question and answer rounds where you guys can get involved. You can talk directly to the devs, you can talk to us, we'll ask questions on your behalf. You can go ahead and join our Discord channel. The link is in the description below. And yeah, join the Discord channel. Come chat with us. Let us know if you have any questions. We've got Rolf Sleuth on the Discord at the moment. He's going to be kind of sharing his information about ZenCash with us. So please, at all times, just shoot some questions our way, and we'll get those answered for you ASAP.
Great. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is Rolf Sleuth, and I'll just go ahead and get started. If you have questions, whether
yeah, man,
through
please,
audio,
please feel free to take the floor from now. You can go ahead and do an introduction. If you have anything you want to start off with, the floor is yours.
wide open to help y'all find out the information that you want to. I'm planning on about 45 minutes for this, so we have some time to go through things. And yeah, I'm one of the founding members of ZenCash, and I've got to put a little bit of disclaimer. I'm not a software developer, although I am somewhat technical. I was an officer in the Navy on a submarine, so I'm an electrical engineer and a nuclear engineer, and I had a data networking business. So I've got a bit of experience in data networking and network security. And that factors into some of the things that we're doing with ZenCash. And I mean, we're all very interested in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's doing well, and it really had been a game changer for the world. And one of the things that I think it took some people by surprise was that everything can be analyzed on the blockchain, and information and metadata can be extracted from that through the various things that people do when they're arranging a transaction on Bitcoin, which can be analyzed to see what's actually going on. So it's not an anonymous currency. And when we saw what Zcash was doing with the ZK snarks, and basically forking Bitcoin and then adding the whole capability to have either transactions or shielded transactions, we thought it was really interesting. And my co-founders on this are Rob Biglione and James Lippincott. They have other skills that we come together, and we did have a developer that did launch the currency with us, and he decided about a week after we did the launch that he wanted to go off and do a few other things. So I'll talk through what our development is and how we're making good progress now in a little bit. So Bitcoin with Zcash, and really the Zcash, we forked a version of Zcash. So Zcash was forked into Zclassic, and Zclassic was a version of Zcash that didn't have founders rewards, so miners got more rewards on that. But it also didn't have a development fund. So the founders rewards in Zcash are their development fund and help pay for their developers. And I was one of the miners on Zclassic, and we thought it was great because these shielded transactions, when you send a shielded transaction to somebody, all that shows on a blockchain is that a transaction happened. It doesn't show who sent it, and it doesn't show who received it, and it doesn't show the amount. So with Zcash, there's the possibility of having transactions that are exactly like the ones, and then ones that are completely secure and private. So the other thing that this is really great, but we need to have a way to fund development and improvement over the life of the cryptocurrency. And that wasn't happening with Zclassic. We also, what I believe is one of the weak spots in many of the alternative cryptocurrencies out there is the actual nodes. I think there's a lot of focus in many different cases on the underlying core software of the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin node software. But a lot of the value happens in the wallets, the integrations with other software and providers, and the systems that are around it. And there's a lot of Bitcoin nodes out there, so people aren't really worried about Bitcoin not having very many nodes. But if you look at some of the other currencies out there, they have well under 1,000 nodes. And if we're creating a cryptocurrency where we want to have it used worldwide and be able to do secure transactions for people, we want to make sure that that is able to stay up and running all the time. So one of the things that we thought was important was to be able to have a lot of nodes out there. Now, fortunately, one of the other altcoins out there that's been doing very well, Dash, has master nodes, and I had some Dash master nodes for a while, and I thought it's a really neat concept, both from having a lot of nodes out there. I know they have well over 4,000, and from a governance standpoint. So take a redirection of some of the mining rewards. So unlike Bitcoin, where we have 100% of the mining reward that goes to the miners, only 88% of it goes to the miners. And 8.5% of it goes towards the treasury, which is managed by the Zen Blockchain Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. And the purpose of the Zen Blockchain Foundation is to look after the interests of Zen. At this point, a lot of it is focused on development of the software that goes around ZenCash. And we're building towards having an inclusive community-based governance so that we can continue to grow and expand. So that 8.5% of the mining reward goes towards the community-funded treasury. Now, 3.5%, so 8.5 plus 3.5 is 12, and 12 plus 88 is 100%. 3.5% is reserved for paying secure nodes. I have a lot of nodes out there, well over 1,000 nodes, and we want these to be able to be secure so that they can't be attacked. Because not only does ZenCash have the ability to have regular transactions and shielded transactions, but one of the capabilities that is within shielded transactions is to send a 512 byte message field. 512 byte message field means that you can send messages to people using secure transactions. It means there's no metadata leakage. It means if you're going to arrange some type of transaction, you can actually use your wallet, your ZenCash wallet, to have a discussion with people, with the person that you're going to do the transaction. You can send it and then you can verify it. We thought that was pretty powerful and was worth expanding on. We also thought that if people, I mean, I live in America, which there's a lot of benefits to living in America. Not every country in the world has a government that is appreciative of people that use cryptocurrencies, and they don't want people to be able to have private communications. So we figured that if there were people in those type of that wanted to be able to have secure communications with people, that we needed to have a lot of nodes that couldn't be distributed denial of service attacks. So we're like, well, if we want to have a lot of secure nodes out there, let's pay for them. And that's where the secure node concept came about, of taking 3.5% of the mining reward and paying that out to people who run ZenCash nodes that meet the secure node requirement. Now, out and started paying for the secure nodes yet, and I'll talk a little bit about where we are in that development process. But that's the overall plan. So cash and continue to use some of the development technology. Now, the way that we launched was as a chain split. So if y'all familiar with Ethereum and Ethereum Classic launched as a chain split from Ethereum. So everybody who already had Ethereum got Ethereum Classic. We did the same thing with the Z Classic blockchain. So we launched at about block 110,000. So that when we came into existence, there was already 110,000 blocks of ZenCash available to the early holders and miners and investors into Z Classic, which is great because we started, I think it was about with 1.4 million Zen already in existence. And we work with Bittrex primarily as our lead exchange, and they agreed that they would credit everybody that had Z Classic with the equivalent amount of Zen. So we started with a stable trading amount and an exchange and a good group of supporters, which has continued to grow since then. Now, one of the problems with doing a chain split is that there's the possibility for transaction replay attacks. And transaction replay attacks is, for example, if someone decided to withdraw 10,000 Z Classic from the Bittrex exchange, then they could replay that transaction onto the Zen Cash blockchain and get an equivalent withdrawal of 10,000 Zen Cash. So before we launched, our lead dev at the time put transaction replay protection, and that was a good thing to do. Well, it's about, I think, 7 to 8 weeks since we launched at the end of May, May 30th. We're trading on Bittrex, and we've done a few improvements. So one of the things that we've done is gone through and rewritten or updated and improved the transaction replay protection, and that's getting a lot of press these days. Bitcoin, and people talking about Bitcoin Cash as a chain split from Bitcoin. So I can tell you, transaction replay and doing it, there's a Bitcoin improvement protocol called BIP 115, and so our developers put that in place. Now the next step is to add the different capabilities that I wrote about in the white paper of secure nodes and secure communications. So that's what we're working on now. The wallet that's getting the most active development right now, the one that I would encourage you to use if you can download a wallet. These are available on Mac and PC and on Linux. It's the Swing wallet. And I don't know if y'all remember the Swing wallet or are familiar with it. That was the first desktop wallet that I used anyway for ZenCash. And so we're working closely with the developer of that, Ivan Baklanoff. And he's got the latest version of the wallet out there, runs great, and it's got the latest binaries as well. We're also working with him to put in the messaging. So you can send shielded transactions with messages right now. It's kind of a manual process because you have to get someone's shielded address and then send a very small amount of ZenCash to them and type a message in the memo field. It's not really kind of like the a messaging application that you're used to. So that's one thing. And in parallel with that, we are working on the secure node system. So what does a secure node system involve? Well, one of the things that involves is being able to do encrypted encrypted communication between the nodes. And in our initial implementation of that, we're doing that using TLS. So you have to get a real SSL certificate. You can get a free one, like from Let's Encrypt or things like that, and use that certificate to encrypt the communications between the nodes. And if you look at our GitHub, you can see that there's already a development branch for TLS development. So why would we even think that that's important? Well, it's that most cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, are not encrypted. Now, the actual addresses and things like that are encrypted, but if you're running Wireshark or something like that, you can see what looks like a Bitcoin transaction. And if we encrypt all that information, then people wouldn't be able to see that. And we're looking at countries like, I don't know, Venezuela or places like that where there's problems with the government that people want to be able to use that. Basically, taking everything that we said that we would do in the short term on our white paper, and that's launching, putting encrypted nodes together, and then doing secure nodes. So how are we actually going to put in place the things that we need to do secure nodes? Well, first off, we have to secure nodes And then we have to have a way for us to track them all and verify that they're acting as secure nodes, and then have a way to reward them. So that's the system that's currently in place. Now, the great thing is we have money to do that. So if you go through the calculations, and our coin issue rate follows Bitcoin's model very similar. Very similar. So 21 million coins. We start out mining a block about every 2.5 minutes, and there's 12.5 Zen per block. And what that calculates out to is about 216,000 new Zen every month. Percent of that gets put into the treasury for us to spend on development and marketing and things like that. So that round numbers is about 17,000 Zen. So if you look at what the Zen price on Bittrex is right now, $4 or $5 depending on the day. So you could say, well, all right, great. We've got round numbers about $50,000 a month to put toward development, and we're using that. So we're using that to actively develop the secure node tracking, payment, and reporting system. We're using that on the wallet, and we're also doing other things that investors and people who are interested in actually using ZenCash. One of the things that's on the roadmap for this year is getting a hardware wallet. Now, just like ZCash, right now, if you get a Ledger or if you get a Ledger Nano S or a Ledger Blue, you can see that there's Zcash on there. A lot of wallets is the unshielded transactions, the regular transactions. A little more complicated to do shielded transactions. So we're following through that, and we want to really make this an international, usable cryptocurrency that's used by people worldwide for not only secure transactions, but also for secure messaging and then secure publishing. We are able to do secure communications between people. You can send a 512 byte message, and hopefully our wallet at some point will be able to do, just like on texts, if you have a long text to somebody, it'll break it up into multiple texts. We'll be able to do that. Now, if we can also, it's there within the technology, we just need to do the wallet capabilities to do it, is in addition to one-to-one publishing, we can do one-to-many publishing. And by maintaining anonymity and security and privacy on our one-to-many publishing, you could say, well, I'm going to have a channel that I and all the other people monitor in my ZenCash wallet that does completely shielded transactions and messages that get published using the blockchain. And we can all, whenever somebody sends a message, now it's not real time. The new block is about every 2.5 minutes. But whenever anybody sends a message, we see that. Now, what can you send in that message? In addition to just words, think about this. The interplanetary file system, which is a way to have people share information on the internet using peer-to-peer, is that you can location, and you can publishing using fully private and secured and anonymous blockchain, and that is basically a messaging layer on an anonymous publishing system. So that's where we see this going, and there is some development to do that. But IPFS is already up and running these days, and depending on how things go, we can set minimum requirements for how much cryptocurrency is required to send a shielded transaction. So I see the message there from Frosty that it's that one-to-many could be a spam trap. You're absolutely right. So a way to address that is to require people to spend a certain amount of minimal money. So overtaking Zcash, no, Zcash is an outstanding cryptocurrency. I have only good things to say about the developers there, and everything else. I don't know that ZenCash will overtake Zcash at any point, but we are going in our own direction and focusing on individual user usability and small business usability. I see that if you're going to have a cryptocurrency, you have to carve out a niche, a value niche, and not just be a Me Too cryptocurrency. Is that we want to make sure that people can use it. So that means a bunch of different types of wallets on a bunch of different type of platform, that people can communicate with it, that people can publish with it, and that we have a very strong network system of nodes that are out there that are meeting certain requirements to be able to stay up and running. And that'll get us going pretty far. Going to continue to improve. So we're going to have community governments with a treasury model, and people putting in proposals, and then using different, having different stakeholders vote on that. So we haven't put that in place yet. We kind of have to walk before we can run on that, but that's the plan. So that's where I see us being a year from now, having the ability to operate, having the ability to send messages, be a solid and secure cryptocurrency, and have people making improvement proposals, marketing proposals, partnering proposals, and things like that, and having those work well. I mean, it works well for Dash these days, and they have the funds to pay developers, and just like we have the funds to pay developers. So I think we're in a spot where we've launched, and there was a lot of expectations before launch. Sometimes, if y'all have been in the cryptocurrency business for a little while, you see that people do pumps, and sometimes the people that are running these pumps, it certainly wasn't us, put out all sorts of information there. What we think is most important for us to do is to be able to roadmap and let people know what it is we're doing, partner with different folks, and put all the systems out there, and be very transparent about what we're doing. And so we've tried to do that all along. And I believe over time, you put a good product out there and work with people and continue to develop and improve, that whatever the marketplace price is for the cryptocurrency will reflect the value that people have in it. So we try to, we have a very active Slack that anybody is welcome to join. We do a YouTube channel. I try to do a video every week or two, and we're going to do more videos for more people on there. We have a blog that a number of different people contribute to, so we're doing usually about 5 blog posts a week. We have a forum. If you look at our forum, and we try to name things pretty obviously, it's like forum.zensystem.io and blog.zensystem.io, and everything's reachable from our main website, which is just zensystem.io. And for people to put in proposals. Just got a great proposal from a VR gaming league that they want to give away some Zen and teach everybody about Zen at their VR gaming. I think they're asking for about 110 Zen Cash. And so, we really like to work within the community, and we like to have different things that we're doing in a bunch of different ways, and like to do things rapidly. I mean, yes, I'm an engineer, but I also worked for Cisco Systems, and I started a business back in 2002, founded it, grew it to 60 people. We did IT deployments and support and things like that, and then sold that business in 2014. So I've gone through a lot of the difficulty of building an organization from a small, fast-moving organization to a larger organization that accomplishes many different things. Those lessons help. So I see that what we're doing here, what I'm excited about is we have a great community. And we have a lot of people that contribute in many different ways to what we're doing. Exciting. That's the big picture. I'm sure I've missed a bunch of things. If anybody has questions, go for it.
Yeah, we've got some questions from some viewers that I will read out to you. We've got a question from Red Crypto. He's got 2 questions. His first question is, what would the payout be if a node were active right now? And his second question is, why do you believe ZenCash dropped so harshly in the beginning?
Yeah, so let me take those one at a time. So I put together a little calculation that I'm happy to share on a Google doc here, and the payout depends on a few different things. So the payout depends on how many um, that meet the secure node requirement, and how well, and that's pretty much what it depends on, because there's 7,560 um, Zen that are reserved for secure nodes every month. 1,000 secure nodes that are out there, and we'll swag the price of Zen in US dollars at $4. Then the monthly reward for secure node that's up the whole month is 7.56 Zen, and that equals about $30 in Zen. If there's 5,000 active nodes that are out there that are up and running, the 3.5% of the blockchain reward, or of the Coinbase reward, or the mining reward, is spread out amongst all the meet the requirements. So I don't know how many nodes that are going to be active out there. And that's part of what we're building from the secure node tracking, payment, and reporting system. And we want to have it be transparent so that people can see how many nodes are connected. And in the first version of it, it's going to be a minimal viable product of it, and nodes are going to connect, and we're going to make sure that they meet the requirements, and we'll run a payment process on the ones that meet the requirements. So say your node's up and running for, I don't know, 6 out of 7 days in the week, then you'll get 6/7 of the reward. And then the second question is, why do I think it dropped so much? Well, I think there was a lot of expectations up front, and we had actually planned that we were going to be able to have the secure nodes available at launch, in addition to the encrypted communications and things like that. And I guess some of that development difficulty reasons our lead dev moved along. Fortunately, Rob Iglioni had made contact with a couple of key players in the cryptocurrency industry. One of them, Charles Hoskinson, and Charles to do, and he very graciously offered for some of his engineers, some of his developers, to help us, so that we don't have any type of formal contract or anything with the guys that are on Charles Hoskinson's team. He is an advisor to Zen Cash, and I think he's a great guy, and I am very happy and grateful that his team of excellent C++ developers with blockchain experience has been helping us through get where we need to be for Zen Cash to this point. And I expect that to continue for a while, but basically that we have the full transaction replay protection. We're doing TLS implementation, and that'll really take the Zen node software to where it needs to be, and everything else is all the other software that surrounds it, the wallets, the secure node tracking and deployment system, and other things that we need to do as the people that are part of the Zen Blockchain Foundation to get Zen going. So we need to get on more exchanges. We need to work with Ledger or Trezor or KeepKey to get a hardware wallet. We already have contracted with Coinomi, which is an Android multi-coin wallet, to get onto. And they told us that they're, in addition to having an Android wallet, they're working on, I don't know when it's going to happen, but they're working on an iOS and a desktop wallet. So that's pretty exciting. So I think there were some expectations that we're going to have everything ready to go at launch. I didn't set those expectations as far as I know, but then when people found that we didn't have everything ready to go at launch, I think the price dropped. And so we're in a spot right now where we know what we're going to do. We have a plan. We have a lot of development that's been happening, but you're not seeing a lot of the results of that development. You're going to see a lot of the results of that development within the next few weeks to a month. we have a fellow Devman is the lead contractor for developing secure nodes. So he's a very experienced software development project manager and developer. So he's bringing different folks, and he's got alpha code that he's standing up here in the next week so that people can start using the secure node tracking software. We have the encrypted node software. If you pull down and build the TLS development branch for the node software for Zen, you can already do encrypted communications between nodes. So we're really close on this stuff. And I think that just like, trust with anybody takes time to build. If we continue to say, well, we're going to do this, and then we do it. And then say, we're going to do this, and then we do it. We do this continually, and we do this along the path that we outlined, and continue to tell people, I expect that our market price will reflect people's belief in our ability to build our vision.
Sounds like you guys have a very professional team working on your project, which is very exciting. I've got another question from John. John is asking, how do you see ZenCash in a year from now?
So there's to do, and there's a lot of things on our software development roadmap. And if you guys have been around the cryptocurrency world for a while, sometimes the development happens faster and sometimes it happens slower. So as much as an engineer, I'd like to say, well, we have these exact dates that we're going to hit. I'm not sure of the exact place that we're going to be a year from now, but I can tell you where we expect to be a year from now. I expect that we're going to have secure nodes have been fully up and running for 6 to 8 months. That will probably be on not the first version of secure node tracking and payment and reporting system, but on the second one, which we expect to be a more distributed type system. I expect that we'll have a full range of wallets, both on desktop and on mobile. And on mobile, not only able to do the transparent transactions, but also shielded transactions that will have hardware wallets that will have one-to-one messaging, we'll have one-to-many messaging, and we'll have anonymous publishing fully implemented. I expect that we'll have community governance at that point. So our idea of community governance is having many different people who are involved in the people who make the decisions, not just you look at Bitcoin and the people that are making the decisions are basically the miners because they can decide where to go, and developers have to get jobs from other people. You look at Dash, which is a great cryptocurrency, all their decisions are made by the masternode owners. So into it, I say, okay, well, who are all the people that are excited about this and want to have the cryptocurrency grow? Well, it's a lot of people. It's the owners of the cryptocurrency. It's the folks that are, for us, part of the Zen Blockchain Foundation that feel responsibility to guide the development of it. It's the miners. It's the mining pool. It's the exchanges, and then there's different folks that want to be able to actually use ZenCash, and that's the individual users. I hope that small businesses and different people would be using ZenCash in their day-to-day. Point-of-sale integrations take a while. I don't expect that we'll have full point-of-sale integrations a year from now, but a year from now, I expect that we'll have realized the majority of the vision that's in our white paper, and that we'll be working through different proposals and voting on them in the governance for doing new and different and better things. I don't even know what those things are, or else we would have written them into the white paper. But the great thing about having an active community is that if you encourage ideas to come from different places that might initially sound crazy at first, one of those ideas can turn into the thing that really is awesome in the future. So we want to continue to have strong community involvement and a decentralized and user focus. So we're not looking to do corporate partnerships. We're not looking to do government partnerships. This is really, to me, the people's cryptocurrency, because everybody has a right to privacy and to transact and communicate at least I think people have the right to be able to keep their private business private.
I've got another question here from one of our YouTube viewers. Are you serious? Is asking, is there any real life usage for ZenCash at the moment?
Well, I have a ZenCash wallet and I pay people in ZenCash. So that's, you know, so that's a start. Now you can secure shielded transactions, so it doesn't publish anywhere who received it or what the amount is. So if you want to be able to send completely secure and private transactions that nobody else knows what they are, then you can do that now. You're gonna send that secure transaction, and there's other cryptocurrencies that send shielded transactions or tumble or mix them or things like that. The problem is you're probably communicating with text or with signal or with an email or with a phone call or something outside of it. Like, hey, I want you to do this contracting work to build the website. Okay, cool. You know, I don't know, it's a gambling website, and gambling's illegal in that company, but in that country. So you do whatever you can do to have those communications, and then like, okay, that's going to be, you know, 500 bucks. All right, send me 500 bucks worth of Bitcoin, send it to this address. How is all that communication happening? Well, it's happening in that the cryptocurrency and blockchain has. So to me, I see that the real world use for Zen right now is if you are doing sensitive transactions that you might not want the regulators to know about, you can, as soon as you exchange a shielded address between you and the other person, you can do your communication, you know, with minimal charge, like 0.00001 Zen. You can communicate back and forth, and then when all that negotiations happen, then you can send the Zen. It's all within the same exact secure encrypted cryptocurrency path. There's no metadata leakage.
I've got a question here from Red Crypto. He's asking, do you hold any other coins? Which ones and why?
Oh man, so you know, I was kind of late to the cryptocurrency market. I'd been following along with Bitcoin for a while, but pretty much all during 2014, I was working to sell my company and make sure it was performing well and doing all the due diligence. And I've got a family and 4 kids, so we just got a lot going on. So I really started about 2 years ago researching it and money or mining it. So about a year and a half ago, I started as a miner because I have an IT background, been, you know, building computers my whole life and things like that. So I started mining this, and the business that I started was I had worked for Cisco Systems, and I started selling voice over IP phone systems to rural customers in Wyoming, and I could see that within 10 years that the entire phone system business was going to get flipped on its head, and voice over IP phone systems were going to take over everything. But back then in 2001, 2002, most people I talked to were crazy. So I already had the experience that when there was a new technology that is going to be a monster technology wave, it doesn't matter how you get into it, you just have to get into it. And then once you're in it, you start learning all sorts of different things. So I said, okay, I got to get into it and start mining it. So I started mining Bitcoin, and that was great. And then started mining, doing GPU mining and mining Ethereum and then Zcash when it came out. And then, you know, started doing things on exchanges. And then back in December, I learned about Dash and bought a bunch of Dash. And back then, Dash wasn't that expensive, and so I had 5 masternodes. I thought that was really neat. And then y'all experienced this year. I mean, all the altcoins went up in value. So I've got a website called blockoperations.com where I teach people how to do mining. I got a YouTube channel that goes with that, and everything that I did. So now I own 2 cryptocurrency mining facilities. One that has about 160 servers in it, and one that's got about 30 servers in it. I'm mining for Bitcoin, for Dash, for Ethereum Classic right now. And you know, I look at the coin wars and what to mine and stuff like that. But what I discovered was if I mine a bunch of stuff and put it on an exchange and buy other cryptocurrencies, those might go up in price. And that's when I figured that, well, if I'm going to mine for something, I need to research it and figure out, okay, who's the dev team? What's their plan? Why are they different? Because there's a lot of cryptocurrencies out there that they don't, I mean, you look into them more and more, and there's nobody there. So I'm not going to spend mining resources and electricity. And by doing that, I was able to, in different Slacks, there's always an altcoin discussion. So I found out about Ant shares early on, and I bought some Ant shares. I found out about NEN. My business partner here at ZenCash, Rob Biglioni, has been an early investor in BitShares. I like BitShares. So own probably a different ones, and I like to own cryptocurrencies that they have a reason to exist, and they have a path. And I've learned over time that people can say whatever that they're going to say, but what really shakes things out is a track record of success, just moving right along. Because like when I first looked into Stratus, I did not understand what the heck Stratus was all about. But you know what? They got a team, and they talk about improvements and staking and different things. I mean, it's a complete different platform. They're more Windows focused. So I'm involved. I purchased a bunch of different cryptocurrencies on the exchanges. I'm a little bit worried right now, so I'm trying to pull them up. In fact, I just ordered a monster laptop with a 1 gig SSD and an i7, and I'm going to turn up a wallet for running Ubuntu. I'm going to turn up a wallet for every single cryptocurrency that I own and start bringing them off the exchange onto my laptop. But hopefully that answers your question.
Got a question here on YouTube from Lindsay. She said, I heard that the masternodes only need 42 Zen based on the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Is this true?
Yeah, we were trying to come up with an answer, and I love Douglas Adams. Yeah, hilarious book. I guess there was a radio show in Great Britain and things like that. I just know from the different books. So yeah, 42 is the answer to everything, and maybe we'll figure out at some point. But yeah.
Cool. I'm going to leave the floor to all the hosts in the chat party. They're all experts in their fields, and I'm sure they all have interesting questions for you guys, specific. So guys, feel free to chat to him and ask questions.
I believe Mark had some
questions.
questions.
And let's see. While I'm looking for those, let me think about some other common things that folks are asking. People ask in a lot of different ways, how can they contribute and how can they participate? I'd love to wanted to test or contribute to development. Would love to have people do different videos. One of the videos that I've been meaning to get to that I just haven't had a chance to is, have wallets and show people how to send a secure message from one wallet to another. Another thing that I've done, if you go look at my block operations website, is giving you step-by-step instructions on building a Zen node. Completing the secure node. I'll write that and publish it as soon as the secure node software is rolled out and we have the exact specification for it. People ask me what the minimum requirements for a secure node are.
Yeah, I saw something to do with that. Setting it up, apparently you need a valid SSL certificate. Is that right?
Yeah, so we want to be able to ensure that you can do encryption. So one of them is a valid SSL certificate.
Can you use
Another is to have a copy of the entire Zen blockchain, because we want these to be. Another is to have
Can the SSL certificate change? So can it be like a Let's Encrypt, like a free one that will get updated every 90 days or whatever?
Yeah, that's a fine one. And those aren't tied to an IP address. They're just tied to a domain name. So you could use dynamic DNS. And I have. It needs to be able to do a shielded transaction, a Z transaction. So at the base, it needs to be running on a 64-bit operating system with a 64-bit processor, and it needs to have access to about 4 gigs of memory. Now, the VPS that I run it on has 1 gig of memory, and I set up 6 gigs of swap. and it takes a little bit longer to run a shielded transaction calculation if you're using swap. But if it's the SSD, it does it fast enough. So that means you can use a $5 VPS. But I had gone to the Intel Developer Conference about 4 years ago, and they had given me a Intel NUC, a little next unit of computing. And so I remembered that, and I was looking that up because we can't quite do this on a Raspberry Pi, because even the Raspberry Pi 3 isn't a full 64-bit type thing.
Yeah.
Look, you can buy.
Is Mark here now?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Mark has some questions too, I believe.
Go
Yes.
for it.
And do you plan to list ZenCash and multiple exchange like Poloniex and Livecoin, the other exchange?
Yes. So we're working to get ZenCash listed on many different exchanges. We're on BitX, which I think is an outstanding exchange. But like Livecoin, Cryptopia, Poloniex, we'd love to get listed on other exchanges. But for us, it's one step at a time.
All right. And I do have another question. The other day I was doing some research. I see that you guys going to have contract, and you say you're going to work with small businesses. How's the contract going to work? Is it gonna be similar like Ethereum contract?
I don't see that we're going to be doing any type of smart contract like Ethereum anytime soon. We're more focused on being a cryptocurrency and secure messaging and then publishing. So we're based more on the Bitcoin type of cryptocurrency than Ethereum.
All right. And so you already answered some of my questions. I don't know if any of you guys have questions for him.
I keep seeing a lot of people ask, don't you think the entry level is too low? Instead of 42 Zen, why not like 1,000 like Dash?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a lot of different viewpoints on that and a lot of different debates. So Dash has a model that works for Dash. And if you look at how many master nodes they have, I think it's over 4,000 master nodes. So if you say it's 1,000 Dash per master node and then 4,000, they have about 4 million Dash locked up in master nodes. And I think they have about 8 million Dash overall. And you've got to ask yourself, well, what is the purpose of having people put a cryptocurrency in a node? So for some cryptocurrencies, I believe that its purpose is to create artificial scarcity. Because if you want to be part of the voting process, and there's a few different cryptocurrencies that are based on the Dash model. There's PIVX and things like that. Do you really want to lock up half of your liquid currency? And so our answer to that was, well, what we're trying to do is have a strong, secure network, and that we can extend our network of nodes into every country in the world and have multiple nodes all over the place, and that are encrypted and operating on different ports that people can't attack. So if we say, okay, what is the purpose of the exercise? And the purpose of the exercise is, well, how are we going to get a whole bunch of nodes? Are we going to beg people to have a bunch of nodes and run them on good hardware? Well, instead of begging people to have good nodes running on hardware, why don't we just pay them? We're going to pay people to have secure nodes. But then we're like, well, okay, how do we know that they're good actors? And I said, well, let's make sure that they have a little bit of Zen, so they got a little bit of skin in the game. And the people that I would ideally like to have operate these secure nodes are IT guys that have some extra server space, some extra virtual machines, that know how to do security, that are system admins, that know how to set up firewalls and other things like that, and are able to do this. So we didn't want this to be necessarily as an investment by people or as something to create an artificial scarcity of Zen to push the price up. We wanted to do it to be able to make a strong and secure network. So if we look at it from that point, um, 42 Zen to be able to put up a secure node and paying people to do it. And there's some countries that have a lot of really good IT folks where the electricity prices are really expensive, and they could probably figure out how to set up a whole bunch of these and run them. And they might not be able to mine, and mining is very important as well, but they might be able to set up secure node and get compensated for it. Because we don't want to ask people to have to spend their own money to get our network working. So that's the answer of why we're doing 42 and not a much higher number. Because we don't see that there's a reason to create artificial scarcity of Zen. We want people to be using it.
There any faucets available for people that's new to crypto that want to get into crypto? I remember back in the days when crypto started, still today, there's a lot of faucet sites. Is that something you guys are planning?
I gotta tell you, I'm a little ignorant on what a faucet site is. I think if you go there, you get a very small amount of the cryptocurrency. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, just because I've only been in the cryptocurrency industry for a year and a half, there's some things that I just flat out ignorant on. I don't know of anybody that set up a Zen faucet, but I can tell you that we are extending and expanding on our marketing. If you're a member of Bitcoin Talk, we're running a avatar and signature campaign. Great way to get Zen. We're running a Twitter campaign right now. I think it's an easy way to get a few Zen per week. We're asking people if they have any ideas for any proposal at all to do anything to get the word out about Zen there, to go to our forum and fill out the little 2 to 3 page proposal. And if it's less than 75 Zen, look at that and say, yeah, that makes sense. They're going to let 15, 20 people know about Zen, show them how to use wallets, do memos, go to their user group. Yeah, we'll contribute 75 Zen to that. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but I don't know of anybody that's set up a faucet yet.
Cool, guys. So the floor is yours. If you want to ask him any questions, now's the time.
I do have one more question.
Well, give me a moment and I'll unmute the rest of the users so people can now chime in. Go on, Mark, you can talk to them while I do it.
Okay. Since I see that they basically we can create the secure node up to 5,000 secure node. Does that mean when we reach the limit of 5,000 people want to create more secure node will not be able to?
I think the market is going to determine a limit for secure nodes. We're working to set them up so that people can't just set up 100 on minimal virtual machines on a single server, that they're going to be distributed over different IP addresses or different machines or different things like that. So we're setting some requirements, but there's no upper limit to the number of secure nodes that can be created. However, if, say, there's 10,000 secure nodes that are out there that are all running and meeting the requirements, instead of each secure node getting 7.5 Zen per month, each secure node will get 0.75 Zen per month. So I expect that there'll be a balance between the amount of work and requirements and computing requirements to run a secure node, what the price of Zen is, and the number of nodes that are out there. So I expect it'll really see a few years from now that there'll be thousands of nodes out there, and they'll be run by the people who are basically able to meet the requirements at the lowest cost. So there's no categorical upper limit. And who knows, if a few years from now, the community governance organization might decide to change how secure nodes are done. I know how we are doing it here for the first year and going on beyond that. But it's important to have our cryptocurrency organization be dynamic and adaptable to the people that are involved in it and the times and technology and capability. So I think we're going to be ever changing and expanding and getting better.
I'm sure Mark Boy will be the first guy to have his masternode running.
I look forward to that also. And also, I do have another questions for you. So, 1 minute. Let me looking at my question list. Okay, so will people be able to vote on the like secure node just like Dash do it? Will this whole secure node holder be able to vote for what they think will be a great idea for ZenCash?
We had a initial model of governance that we talked about in the white paper, and I believe we're going to end up building it out something similar to that. Basically, we want to have the people that are part of the cryptocurrency community, and they come from very many different aspects. Like, OC Miner, he runs Supernova. I think having Supernova be one of the people that influences the direction of ZenCash is important. I think people that are running secure nodes are important to be able to have part of that community governance. So it's not going to be like Dash, where only the master nodes are able to vote on decisions and everybody else is secondary. We're going to have an inclusive governance system that encompasses the different aspects of the community.
Okay, thank you. And I also have one more other question. Since you said we can do private transaction, does that mean ZenCash not going to have a rich list?
That ZenCash is not going to have a what kind of release? I'm sorry.
A rich list, meaning sometimes when people go to the block explorer, they can see who got how many ZenCash. So does that mean ZenCash not going to have a rich list, so nobody cannot see what people have?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, it has. I mean, it's both, but I'm not sure that you can match names of people to addresses. So I think most of the people still use transparent um, currency, which is just like the Bitcoin blockchain that you can analyze it. For me, I keep a bunch of my ZenCash actually in a shielded address, so nobody can see how much is in there. So if you run transactions through shielded addresses before you go back to transparent addresses, because sometimes you need to be able to send, transparent payments so that you can say, well, here's the transaction, you can see how much there was, and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be very difficult with ZenCash to figure out who's got how much and where it is.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you guys want to ask more questions, but I think all my questions got answered.
Oh, I see a couple here on the Discord scroll. Let me roll that through. So is mining ZenCash going to close, or is it going to be mineable forever? We've set up our mining to be done in a very similar fashion to Bitcoin. We are using the Equihash mining protocol. So you can use, for example, Claymore's Zcash miner or Optiminers, or if you use NVIDIA cards, the eBPF miner, and that runs well on GPUs. If it's going to go to ASIC, that depends on process technology questions and how inexpensive it is to implement memory in the ASICs. So our intention is, I mean, I'm a miner. I think mining is important. So our intention is to keep this as a proof of work type currency. Let's see, another question here is when do we think secure nodes are going to go live? I think we're going to be able to have secure nodes go live within about 2 months. I think that's where we're at from where I know that we are on the development. I think we're going to be able to go live with the first version in about 2 months. A little bit about the team again. You're right, I did talk a little bit about the team. I guess I shouldn't talk too much about myself, but Rob Biglione has been in cryptocurrency for a while. He's worked with a few different projects like BitShares and things like that. You'll see him as the public face in a lot of different cases for ZenCash. Jane is out of Hong Kong. You'll see her on Slack as Jane HK. And one of the things that we think is really important is to have a strategy and an ability to bring in people worldwide. So she's been attending events and sharing the word in Hong Kong and Shanghai about Zen Cash. I think the Chinese market is huge for cryptocurrencies. I've got a technical and business and management background and do a bunch of different things. So I kind of see myself as the inside guy. I see Rob as the outside guy. We've got a couple outstanding advisors that I think of as advisors to the board of Charles Hoskinson and Steve Marioff, who've been involved in Ethereum and Zcash. And then we have a number of different developers that work on our team. And I'm gonna have to go soon, but we've got great information and links on our website, which is zensystem.io. If you want to join the Slack, I will put the Slack right here in the Discord. And any last questions? I'm happy to have this type of conversation again in a few weeks. What I am going to ask y'all is trust that we have a plan. We're working through the plan. I think any of you guys that have been in business or cryptocurrency or software development know that it takes time to go through and do things. But we are serious about this. We're going to be around for quite a while, and we're working through to make ZenCash a usable currency for secure private transactions, messaging, and publishing, and doing all sorts of and doing this for countries and people around the world. So we're a user-focused cryptocurrency. We think privacy is really important for people, and see that ZenCash is a way for people to transact and communicate and publish privately. And we're doing everything that we can do to make sure that that's going to be successful.
There's a question I heard now from a couple of guys now, and even.
All right, so to do this, and I appreciate everybody in the audience that's listening, and anybody that is listening on the YouTube live feed. Mark, are you going to have a chance to publish that on YouTube so that I can share that with folks?
There is one question here.
It should automatically auto-publish once it's finished, so you'll be able to go onto our channel and pick up the link.
Yeah, Reedman has just one more question. Sorry, Reedman has just one more question.
Yeah, the question I have is like somewhat people asking is that the Asian market and the Chinese market is
do I get that? Is that going to be on audio, or is it one of the ones here in the Discord?
Yeah,
this guy not hear me?
Oh, are you muted to him?
I don't know why I muted him.
Doesn't seem to be muted, but apparently he can't hear you.
Okay, just ask him about if you're gonna introduce to the ever-growing Chinese and Asian market.
I can't hear anybody asking the question.
Okay, so he said that a lot of people are asking about the Asian market, and if you're planning on to releasing in the Asian markets.
Yeah, I mean, in order to, especially China and then all the other countries there, I mean, we really need to be doing things in the local language, and that's one of the reasons that Jane Lippincott is on the team. She speaks Mandarin. She's been doing business out of Hong Kong and Shanghai for quite a while, and is working with local groups of people. And I really see that the people that we want to be using this are individual people, small businesses, because I think owner-operated businesses are really the heart and soul of getting things done in the world. And I know that there's a lot of opportunity within the Asian market for that. So I'm not sure that they are. We're speaking English here, right? So I mean, this is where we're doing it first, but we really have a global perspective. And I just saw something else in the Discord about Latin America. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll be in Panama City in Panama next week, and I see what's happened with different currencies in Argentina and Venezuela and in Brazil. And so I think Latin American market is a huge potential market for ZenCash. So making sure we do things in different languages, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Mandarin. We already have different announcements published on Bitcoin Talk in those different languages and have people that are active on those threads. I mean, the way to get cryptocurrencies like ZenCash active in countries is to go to where the people are and speak to those people in their language and make sure that we do that. That's all I've got for today. I've got actually another call coming up. So I appreciate your time. And when we do this again, because I'd like to do this again, if you guys could come with more questions, I'd be happy to address them as capably as I can at that point.
Okay, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure for us also to meet you and do that with you. We will make sure that we keep it going so we can inform everybody about ZenCash so they can know what's going on.
Thanks.
Hey, Block
I
Ops,
really
this is
appreciate
V-Sky,
your
buddy. Thank you so much for what you provided for the audience tonight.
support. You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Okay, guys, so we'll stay live and just have a general nice chill chat. Anybody's welcome and just chat away and what's been happening.
What I'm going to do first is I'm going to end this stream so it cuts off. So if that guy would like to have a shout with his friends, that's all about what he's done.
Yes.
Yeah, good
but
deal.
yeah,
Good deal.
I would like to thank him for coming on and sharing all that information with everyone, and I'd like to thank you all for turning up and asking the guy questions. So yeah, thanks for watching.
And please remember to subscribe to our channel. We will keep you posted. And you can also follow us on Steam so we can keep you posted. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.